that fly eagerly, just like the waves that dance on the sea, just like the robin you made to sing. Have your way with me. Oh Lord, Africa's in me. Just like the autumn leaves that fall from the trees, just like the sound of the fall winds blowing, Lord, let your rain fall down on me, and have your way with me. Oh Lord, Africa with me. Take my hand and my feet, Africa, oh Lord, is me. Take my heart, I don't know myself. Lord, please take full, take control, take control, take control, and have your way. Have your way with me, 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 hey, hey, hey. And have your way with me. Take my hand
religion and spirituality is most fundamentally one's personal way of expressing one's relationship with that which one calls God. % of the people on the planet and 75% of those in America profess to have some kind of relationship with God. That is, they profess to be religious, spiritual, so forth and so on. And when we inspect this vast group of contemporary humanities, variety and forms of that expression of their relationship with God, what we find is that individuals have different kinds of expressions, concepts, and ideals about God that is reflected in their religious and spiritual behavior, you see. Even one's religiosity, one's spiritual capacity to be in relationship with God is like everything else about human beings, developmental. There are levels of it. The songstress in that particular Shabbat was talking about one of the higher levels of the expression of one's relationship to God that is characterized by a profound surrender and submission to the will of God, to not even consider one's own life and living as a personal possession, but rather as something that belongs to God, and therefore there is the submission to the will of God for how and what you would do with your life. And that's a little higher type of religion, a little higher expression of one's spirituality. But it must be understood that out of the millions and billions of people who profess to be religion, that you're bound to find some forms of the practice of religion to still be arrested. Like anything else about human development, people get arrested in that development, no matter which line of development we focus on, and there are many lines of development that makes up the growth and development of a human being. There are cognitive lines, moral lines, aesthetic lines, kinesthetic lines, so forth and so on. And there's the spiritual line. Perhaps it would be of some interest for you to consider where you are at developmentally on the line of spiritual development. To somehow reflect on whether or not you have what it takes to practice religion and spirituality at its highest levels, you see. That requires a certain kind of growth. One of my arguments that I asked you to consider in the recent past was to look and see to what extent psychologically you are still childish and adolescent in your personal development. Because if you are psychologically childish and adolescent, then that will also be reflected in your expression or capacity for doing something like religion and spirituality, you see. For the childish and adolescent individual, the practice of high religion, high spirituality, Sankmat, this argument that I have been making over the years, for the practice of that level of spirituality, you have to grow up. This is a religion and spirituality for grown folks, not for children and those who are arrested in their development at the stage of adolescence. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Where you are at in terms of maturity will dictate your whole motive for being involved in the religious enterprise in the first place. So there are different types, different stages, different levels of religion. And they are necessary because these different types, levels, stages, forms of religion makes it possible for this vast number of people on the planet to have some level of spiritual and religious practice, you see. But there are some levels of religion that is problematic and has been problematic throughout all history. I don't think I have to tell anybody in here of how many millions and billions of people have been slaughtered in the name of Jesus and slaughtered in the name of Allah and so forth and so on. Still going on the planet today, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So you have a type of religious mentality that is fundamentalist in its orientations. This fundamentalist level of the practice of religion is rooted in profound ignorance. It is the lowest type of religion that a person can engage. It is a religion that is fundamentally indulged in for the sake of protecting the individual's fundamental ignorance. It is rooted in belief, blind belief, at that. And there are millions and millions of people who simply believe in the religion that they are practicing, not having made any investigation whatsoever, have inherited like the color of their eyes from their parents or their culture and so forth and so on. And really don't have a clue about what their own religion is professing to represent. They're just going along with it to protect their ignorance, you see. They don't know what truth is or anything like that, and it would offend their egos for them to confess publicly that I don't know what truth is. I don't know anything about God, or so forth and so on. Let me just hide my ignorance with my belief. And very often you see belief serve that kind of function, doesn't it? It's a kind of substitute for knowledge, you see? When you don't have knowledge, then you believe. And remember, belief is not the same as faith. Please make a note. Faith is something altogether different. Belief fundamentally is a way of covering up your ignorance so that you do not be exposed to other people. So you say, I believe. And so you can see the basis for the fanaticism that tends to characterize that level of the practice of religion. The fanatic must now take the position that everybody else religion is what? Wrong. Has to be, so that he can be what? Right. And that's worth dying for, isn't it? You see the fear? It is fear-based religion. Religion based on fear. And you can see the origin of it. It begins in ignorance. So that individual picks their religion based on the numbers. If it's whatever religion got the most members, that's who I'm with, because all these people can't be wrong. Is that about right? And they're finding all kinds of ways to increase their number, because the more people that join the church or the mosque or the temple, so forth and so on, the more it reinforces their feeling that they're what? Right. And their ignorance, you see, is relieved. But fundamentally, their belief is just there as a cover over their ignorance. So this is a ignorance-based religion. And there are millions of people involved in that. They are arrested in their spiritual development at the level of ignorance. They're only capable of belief. That's not much growth. And then, of course, where there's ignorance, there's bound to be fear. Is that about right? Ignorance is the basis of fear, isn't it? So you can imagine then that there would be another kind of a type of religion or religious person whose practice of religion is rooted in pure fear. Is that about right? They are afraid, fundamentally. They seek God for the sake of being protected from the vicissitudes of life, you see. Life for them is too much, too hostile, too dangerous, too much of a threat. And they feel the need to be protected from it, you see. So they rush to religion and God for the sake of being protected against the vicissitudes of life, against the bad things happening to them in their life. Are you with me? Isn't that what a child does? Run to mommy and daddy, and when they are scared and afraid, seeking solace and protection. Is that about right? So in some sense, you see, they look upon God as like a parent. This is parental Godism, you see. God the father or God the mother, it doesn't matter. It's the same childish mentality that spawns both Godism and God-based religion, isn't it? Protect me. Save me. Don't let me be hurt. Make life hunky-dory. You see my point? Remove all struggles. Protect me from the vicissitudes. Don't let nothing bad happen to me. So forth and so on. The relationship is fundamentally petitionary, intercessory. That's what their prayer is all about, isn't it? Don't let me get cancer. Don't let nothing happen to my kids. You see my point? Protect me. Keep me safe. And this is their whole relationship with God. It is fundamentally rooted in fear. It is fear-based religion, fear-based spirituality. And remember, as I go through these, look and see and feel, because sometimes you see, you try to bring these lower levels of spiritual and religious development and the mentality that goes with them, and you try to travel higher spiritual path with that mentality. What do you think is going to happen? At the higher levels of religion and spirituality, no such protection is made a part of the doctrine and dogma. It talks about your common. You got to handle this shit. Grow up. Deal with it. This is how life is. Sickness, old age, death, tragedies. But these are the very things you've been trying to protect yourself from, isn't it? Nothing to do with the higher levels of religion and spirituality, because they do not provide you with the consolation, the solace, and the protection that you are psychologically in search of. Are you following me? So there's fear-based religious person, naturally then is xenophobic, afraid to interact with anyone outside their church, their mosque, their religion. Anybody outside of that religion is the what? Yeah. Enemy or devil, same thing. Enemy. Threat. It must be defeated, conquered, by any means necessary. And where there's ignorance and fear and so forth and so on, you're bound to find greed. So there's a third kind of level of religion that is fundamentally rooted in greed. You see this in the African American community. It's epidemic, isn't it? Prosperity-based religion, right? You see the big mega churches, and folks going there are fundamentally driven by greed, aren't they? They want more stuff. They're fundamentally materialists, perhaps not particularly good at entrepreneuring, so they turn to God to supply them with all the material things that they simply are incapable of acquiring on their own ingenuity. Are you with me? Let me win the lottery ticket. You know what I mean? They go in there and they're praying, and this has been epidemic in our community for years, beginning with the Father Divines all up in the early 40s and so forth, all the way up to today. Is that about right?
Yes.
Here's your magic prayer cloth. Use this and you'll get a house. You see my point? Only $10. Get them while they last. Here's some Holy Ghost oil. Put it on yourself. The Lord's going to bless you with a new car, a new house, a new career. More money, more money, more money, more money. You see? Greed is the underlying motive. Their relationship with God has nothing to do with God doing his will on earth, does it? It's just the reverse, right? Their relationship with God is, God, do what I'm praying here on my knees and invoking you to do, and I'm going to put $20 in the collection plate, and you know what I mean? I'll be looking for that new car. It's my reward. Reward. They want to be rewarded. Is that about right? They want cold, hard cash in return for their devotion. Is that about right? And what happens if I don't get that material item that I was praying for? Am I going to still follow that religion? Am I still be religious? I'm through with God, right? Boy. There's no profit in religion for them. And so they leave, you see. But that's just greed, disguised as devotion. It's just greed. Doesn't have to always be for material thing. You pray and send me a husband, send me a wife, or get rid of a husband and get rid of a wife, or something like that, you know what I mean? Get my kids off drugs, you know what I mean? I mean, all kinds of things. Has nothing to do with your spiritual growth and development. You're not praying to become a more compassionate person, a more loving person, a more humble person. You're praying for some worldly benefit. Is that about right?
Yes, sir.
Greed based and the greed level of religion and spiritual development. That's where you start. And you bring it to the path. You see? Now you do your meditation, but you're doing your meditation so that nothing bad happens to you, or so that your luck change. You follow what I'm saying? Got your little picture of the guru in your back wallet. Bhagwan, help me out here. I'm finna, you say, go in here and look for a job. You know what I mean? Bless me. Always looking to be blessed with some kind of material benefit. Greed, pure and simple. These three, fear-based religion, ignorance-based religion, greed-based religion, comprises about 90% of all people who profess to be religious or spiritual will fall into one or all of those categories, because those are not exactly airtight. You know what I mean? They're interrelated, interconnected. But if you do a survey of everybody that raised their hand and said that I'm religious and spiritual, and you inspect it very closely, you'll be able to reduce 90% of that group into one of those types. Their whole motive is to protect their ignorance, protect themselves out of fear, and receive some kind of blessing in the form of a material benefit for themselves or for their loved ones. And that's about it. Look at your motives underlying your meditation, or so-called meditation. Right? What is it? And all of those who don't fall into those first three groups, when it comes to conventional religion, do it fall into the next group? And that's intellectual-based religion. Are you with me? That should ring a bell. The intellectual-based practice of religion is all about logic and reasoning. I mean, you're trying to do religion with your head. You're trying to figure shit out. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to make a theology. The theological level of religion, you see, is about coming up with all kinds of theories and explanations and defining what God is, what God is not. You see, very clever people make up that category. They're very clever. But what characterizes all of those making up that category is that they don't want to do no work, no solomon. In fact, that's why they are so committed to the intellectual enterprise. They're trying to find an alternative to Solomon. They're trying to think themselves into a state called God realization. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
They're trying to psychologize themselves there. They're trying to philosophize themselves there. That's the intellectual-based practice of religion. It's just in their head, just doing head shit. You follow what I'm saying? Endlessly involved in that enterprise. Crafting dogmas, you see. Crafting doctrines. Building organizations. You know what I mean? They love building organizations. They really like that shit. Just intellectual. These kind of people are fundamentally cowards, and they disguise their cowardice in the form of scholarship. But fundamentally, underneath their scholarship, you will find a coward. Don't want to make any sacrifices, don't want to be moved beyond the limitation of their comfort zone. Don't want to get down on their knees, don't want to submit. Just want to talk about it. The talking school. You seen them? Blah, 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 blah. They enjoy talking about religion. Not doing religion. They love talking about it. They have somehow confused talking about religion as being equal to doing it. We'll talk much about meditation, but we'll do none of it, you see? We'll talk much about compassion, but has no intention of being compassionate toward anybody. They love the theory of compassion, not compassion itself, you see. They have an intellectual relationship with God. It's just an intellectual head trip. It's just a relationship at the level of their head. It's not a relationship at the level of heart. Their heart's not in it, just their head. And then there are these higher levels of the expression of one's relationship to God, higher levels of the expression of religion and spirituality. There are those who whose expression of their relationship to God is based on their intelligence, not intellect, intelligence. And please enjoy the distinction between the two. Intellect is just about the accumulation of information. The presumption of the intellectual is that by accumulating more and more information, eventually they will accumulate so much that voila, it will transform them. You see, they believe in transformation via information. And so they're constantly accumulating information. Stacks of books, they've been everywhere, they done checked out everything, and And that's their whole assumption. Give me some more information, and once I get enough, I'll reach a critical threshold of information, and then I'll become a Buddha. No sadhana, no practice, none of that stuff that Buddha did. I'm going to circumvent that. I'll read Buddhism and achieve what Buddha achieved. You follow me? I'll read the Bhagavad Gita and I'll become a Krishna. I'll read Mirabai and I'll become Mirabai. You see. I'll read the Bible and I'll become like Jesus. I'll read the Quran and I'll become like Muhammad, peace be upon him. You see? That's the presumption of the intellectual. They equate transformation with information. I'm not talking about that. That's not intelligence. I want you to always be clear about the distinction, you see? There's a level of religious practice and spiritual endeavor that is rooted in one's intelligence. Intelligence is the basis of your religion. Intelligence is the basis of your spirituality. Intelligence, this ability to discern what is true and what is false. Intelligence, the ability to discern what is real and what is unreal. Intelligence, by discrimination, the ability to discern what is important and what is pure bullshit. You see? And to live one's life on the basis of such revelation, on the basis of such insight, that's also intelligence. It's not just merely the ability to make these discriminations, it's the ability to act on them. That's intelligence. That's higher intelligence. In fact, that's a higher form of intelligence than the intelligence that is able to distinguish between the true and the false. Please make a note. That's the beginning of real intelligence. Then it goes up from there. That person that engages in the spiritual process in the religious life in this level, in this group, base their involvement on their intelligence. They see things the way things really are. They're not driven out of ignorance. They're not driven out of fear. They're not driven out of greed. They're not playing some kind of intellectual game. Their response to religion is based on profound intelligence and the ability to see things the way things really are. This is the man and woman of understanding. The intellectualist has no understanding. That's why they're playing the game. The man and woman of understanding sees things the way things really are and have the ability to live their life on the basis of it. Are you following my argument?
Yes, sir.
They're not trying to keep this body from dying. They understand this body is going to die. They're not trying to avoid loss. They understand this world is the nature of loss. They're not trying to keep everything hunky-dory. They understand pendulation. They understand polarity. They understand duality. They see this world and our experience in it is made up of dualism. It's made up of the pair of opposites. Where there will be pain, there will be pleasure. They're not trying to live a life that is absolutely free of pain. How will you do that? Are you with me?
Yes.
They see things the way things really are. And live their life on the basis of this reality. Not some fantasy. Are you with me? You all are full of all kinds of spiritual fantasies. I'm not going to get sick, at least not right now. I'm not going to be dead. I got 50 more years, you see. Pure fantasy. Nothing bad is going to happen to nobody in my family, especially since I pray every night. Those trapped in the lower level of spiritual and religious development and mentality always go into a crisis the moment they have a unpleasant confrontation with reality. Are you with me? They crumble. Now you got cancer. Freak your ass out. You follow what I'm saying? You can't handle it. You lose your job, crushed. Some lover leave you. You pondering suicide. Are you all,
Yes, sir.
am I too morbid? No. Because it's such a beautiful day out there. I keep looking at this beautiful weather and I'm listening to what I'm talking about. I'm messing up these people's day. It's a beautiful day. I want you to enjoy it. So there is a higher level of spiritual and religious maturity whereby one's engaged in the spiritual and religious processes based on sheer intelligence and the ability to see things the way things really are. There is no fantasy driving their involvement in religion. Fantasy free. Not only can see things the way things really are, they accept them. And respond appropriately. You see, we always talking about how things should be. Have you noticed that? Is that about right?
Yes, sir.
Should be like this. It should be like this. You shouldn't be like that, Sax. Weather shouldn't be like this today. Always should on everyone and everything. Is that about right? In those moments you see, you're saying that the way reality is somehow wrong. That things shouldn't be the way they are. Inspect that presumption. I mean, for a moment, pause. You are arrogating to yourself some kind of profound knowledge of how reality should be. That you're passing a judgment on reality. Is there something wrong with that picture?
Yeah.
Trees shouldn't be green. They should. I don't know what color you want them to be. What color should they be? You follow me? There should be no grass. You know, I sneeze. I have allergies. You know, God shouldn't have created weeds. Should be no pain in life. The world should be utopia. We should all hold hands and sing kumbaya. There should be no crime, rape, murder. You know what I mean? The world should be paradise, you see. everything should be unfair. You know what I mean? Nobody should treat me unfairly. Where you getting this shit from? You're bound to be treated unfairly, and when that happens to you, you just fall apart. Is that about right? You should love me. Where you get that notion from? Nobody's obligated to love you. Where you getting this from? Nobody's obligated to love you. So what is all this? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes.
And when people do not fulfill your imaginary expectations of them, fulfill what you think they're obligated to do, you get angry and all that other kind of stuff. You all know the rest of it, right? Absence of intelligence. What it produces is a whole bevy of wrong expectations of life, others, and even of your own self. Is that about right? And you expect in reality to somehow line up with your false expectations of how things should be. You're bound to be miserable. That's why most of us are miserable, because life is not lining up with your unrealistic, unfounded, false expectations of it. And you constantly struggling. You're trying to control the weather. Literally. Well, it's the same thing. You're trying to control how other people are, how they function, what they will do. I call it reality management. Right? That's your project. You're trying to manage reality, from weather to people. Oh, it gets uglier, but we don't have time. So when you are able to embrace your religion, embrace your spiritual path, but on the basis of intelligence, now, you see, you are exhibiting a much higher level of development and maturity than the individual who's still groveling in fear. You see. There's a level even beyond the intelligence-based religion and spirituality, and that is that level of religion and spirituality that is based on a level of higher awareness. It is a vertical movement. That higher level awareness is the result of your practice of meditation. You see, there's a meditation-based religion and spirituality. And notice the vast distinction between meditation-based religion and spirituality from prayer-based. Vast difference, so don't confuse the two. Prayer does nothing to expand your awareness. You follow me? It's intercessory, it's petitionaries. Are you with me? It is much more grounded in ego. You follow what I'm saying? Ego-driven. It's about trying to manipulate God to act in such a way that is in favor of your own ego or the extensions of it. Meditation-based spirituality and religion. It's grounded on an actual expansion of awareness, you see. meditation is an expression of intelligence. Hmm? It's the next action that follows from intelligence. When you see things the way things really are, you see, that paves the way now for the development of an understanding of the role of meditation in your spiritual journey. And when I say meditation, I don't mean meditation in the sense of just sitting somewhere for an hour or two in the morning. This is a wrong understanding of what is meant by meditation-based religion and spiritual development. Many people make that mistake. Many of you have made the mistake. And when you say I did my meditation, you're talking about you got up this morning or whenever and you sit in a corner and you spend 2 or 3 hours or less or whatever, you see? That's limiting the definition of meditation. Make a note. That's one of the hindrances that you must overcome on the path. You must overcome this misdefinition of what the saints and gurus mean by meditation. Yes, sitting formally, that's a part of being meditative. And remember, it's about being meditative. Meditation is about creating a kind of level of awareness and consciousness that is meditative. You see, you're practicing that, and you're practicing it all the time. It's not just something that you do in the morning time or in the evening time. It's like breathing. It's what you are always up to. You follow me? You are always generating a meditative state of awareness and consciousness, you see. If you are only meditating an hour or two in the morning and then the rest of the day you just let your mind just run all over the damn place, you're not going nowhere. You follow me? You will get up and meditate an hour or two every morning and you will never, ever make any progress. Please make a note. I'm telling you how it is. Some of you have had the experience. You've been meditating an hour and a half for years, and you still haven't made any kind of growth. How could you? Because the rest of the day, you just let your mind run all over the place. I mean, do the math. 1 hour meditation, 23 hours of fantasy. You figure it out. You follow what I'm saying? You come right back to zero. And the next day you got to start from scratch all over again. And then you piss it away, and then you got to start from scratch. And years go on like that. So remember, when I say meditation-based spirituality and religion, I am talking about meditation as a quality. It's a trait. It is always going on, whether sitting in the morning, walking to work, at work, talking, moving about. You are simply always involved. It is your principal interactivity, not fantasizing. Not this constant and incessive and compulsive type of thinking that you're doing that is always preoccupied with something in the past or in anticipation of something to occur in the future. That's not the meditativeness that the Guru is talking about. You follow me? So you did a little hour and a half in the morning time, and then you got up and now I'm through meditating. You actually say that. Or if you don't say it, you feel it. I'm done. All right? And then you just throw the window wide open the rest of the day. That's a wrong understanding and a very limited definition of what meditation is. Meditation is a way of being. It's a way of life. It's a way of living. It's not just some excerpt. Are you following me?
Yes.
This is very important for those of you who are involved in meditation. You're a meditator, then you have to understand this now. And if I haven't been clear in the past, I want to be clear today. This meditative state of consciousness and awareness that persists 24/7, that's what meditation is all about. That's why you're getting up in the first place. It's not a ritual, not some kind of routine. And if you're doing it as a routine, then you can see where your mind is at. You can see where you're at on the scale of things. Is that about right? That's like what people do when they go to church on Sunday morning, full of the Holy Ghost, and then by 6 o'clock. You see my point? Holy Ghost time is over with, right? Bring out the beers, put on the game. You know what I mean? There's a time for the Holy Ghost, and there's a time when the Holy Ghost is inappropriate. You understand? Well, that's not the case at the higher levels of spirituality. Meditativeness is a trait you have. Like the color of your eyes is always the case. It's what you always are doing. There's no time when you're not doing that. It is your pre-behavioral state, your pre-functioning state. Before you do anything, that's what I was doing. Now I might stop and talk to you a while, you see, but when that's over with, I'm back. You follow what I'm saying? Meditation is what characterizes the kind of mental activity going on in your head. It's not this fantasizing. Right? What is the point of doing an hour of non-fantasizing and then 23 hours of fantasizing? I mean, do you all see the absurdity of it?
Yes,
If you're going to do meditation, do it all the time. That's what works. Piecemeal, half-assed, doing it like a hobby. That does not work. You know it, and I know it. This meditative state is characterized by peace, calm. And it's not just a peace and a calmness that the practitioner themselves experience. Other people who come into their company have the same experience, you see. We are always, at all time, experiencing one another's internal state. You see. There's a cluster of cells in the brain. Mirror neurons, I don't know how many are familiar with your mirror neurons is what enabled you to intuit how another person is feeling. In fact, your mirror neurons mirror how other people are feeling. You watch me raise my hand, there's mirror neurons in your head that also wire you to do the same. That's why you become like the company you keep. That's mirror neurons working. There's a real neural physiology, a neurobiology, a neuroscience of relationships. Are you with me? Emotions are contagious. You can catch somebody's anger. Are you with me? You can catch the depression. That's how some of you got depressed. Hanging around too many depressed people. That's all I'm saying. Well, we are always exchanging emotions, feelings, constantly. So there are those individuals you see that you come into their company and you just get angry, you get annoyed, you get depressed. Yeah. But some people who come in your company are having that experience, aren't they? You go into the company of a Buddha, different experience. Now something in you just calms down because the mirror neurons in Buddha brain is radiating out his peace. And it just calms you down. Calms the animal down. They used to say of the Blessed One that that he radiated a Buddha field for 24 miles in any direction. And they said when the great elephant would move, and when that Buddha field fell on dead plants, they spring to life. That's how you knew the Buddha was moving. Shit is coming alive that was dead. He said, beautiful. Yeah. A Jesus, you see, radiates a certain kind of internal state. And you become contaminated with that profound compassion, radical compassion. You follow what I'm saying? When you are able to generate and then abide in a meditative state of consciousness and awareness, then you too, like a Buddha, like a Jesus, become a blessing. You see? You don't have to say anything. Your mirror neurons will speak for you. So the benefit is immense, not just for the person who has made meditation the principal basis of their practice of religion and engaging in spiritual development. It's not just that they benefit, all sentient beings benefit. So it's much higher, you see. And then, of course, there's perhaps the ultimate level. And for lack of a better term, I will simply refer to it as a bliss-based religion. Practice out of sheer joy. Bliss. Your relationship to God fills you with bliss. Your worship of God is rooted in bliss, joy. You are already happy. That's why you can worship. People who are unhappy really are not very good at worshiping God. Their unhappiness gets in the way all the time. You see? Come to God when you're happy. I sing because I'm what?
Happy.
I worship because I'm happy. It makes me happy. There is no other motive. Don't want anything. Fine. You want to give me cancer? Fine. You want to bankrupt me? Cool. If I never have a wife, never have children, never have loving, fulfilling relationship. Cool, as long as I got you. I'm straight. That's enough. You are enough. You're more than enough for me. That's a level of spirituality that you can't even fathom. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Because you want you some money. You want you somebody in your life. You want some kids. You want a wife. You want a husband. You want some shit from your religious practice. You said spending all this time reading all these books for nothing. You want something. Protect me, something. Give me heaven at least. If you don't give me nothing now, give me something when I'm dead. Shit, but give me something. Right? Or to put God under contract. At the level of spiritual maturity, that is called bliss. When you reach the bliss level of spiritual maturity, so all that ends. You are simply absorbed in the bliss. Of God presence. Just being in the presence of God. And God is everywhere, so how can you not be in his presence? You see, he's omnipresent. Right? So, and just being present, you're just glad to be here. That's enough to feel you. To the point of ecstasy. You see, ecstasy means to stand outside of oneself. Ecstasy. You're standing outside of your ego. You're in samadhi. You see. Your worship produces samadhi. The absorption into bliss. You see, what the Hindu mystic call samadhi sukham, the joy, devotion, you see. You become lost in that. Days on end, you see. So this has been just a very quick, certainly I have not exhausted it, but I wanted to offer you some means of self-examination, you see, for the sake of you determining what kind of quality of relationship do you want to have with that which you call God. Are you content with the lesser possibilities for that relationship, or do you want something more? Something to say about it? You know, I can go on and on, you see, but no point in me just saying things if they don't have any particular value or meaning or significance for you. Yes, beloved.
Yes, Bhagwan, would it help to like recite the sadhana during the course of the day as a matter of habit with the focus of the thought on that bliss factor?
Well, you see, you have to start where you at. You follow me? For something you're talking about When you said silent a spiritual practice, sermon budgeting beyond that kind of a thing
Right.
during the day? Yes, yes, yes. That's cultivating and establishing a meditative level of consciousness. Yes, if you are intended to ever have something like a meditative state of consciousness, you got to do it moment to moment. It's not an option. See, that's what you're supposed to already be doing, unless you have misunderstood what has been meant by meditation. If you have been understanding meditation as being something that you do for a couple of hours in the morning, what we call the form of meditation, that's the beginning. That's just true. It's part of it. But that's not the real spirit behind the teachings, you see. You're supposed to always be involved in that, you see. Like you're breathing, yeah, that's what you should be doing, you see. The alternative is that you will allow your thinking to become bogged down, right? And all kinds of things and issues and concerns, the net result being that you would just become miserable, you see. Your mind will involve you in all kinds of things. And remember, and that thinking is going to produce emotions. And so you're going to have all kinds of emotions. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Many of them toxic, which is killing you and killing anybody in 2 feet of you. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Your thinking is producing all that anger, all that rage, all that greed, all that lust, all that vanity, and that is contaminating people. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Or you can maintain your mind in a state where it's generating calmness, peace. Well, which would you prefer?
The latter.
Good. Then you must practice. You see? You must actually do it. You see? It's no, there's no tricks. You see? You can't read yourself into a meditative level of consciousness. You can't read yourself into that. You can't think yourself into that. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But that has to be a value for you. But if one's true relationship to the spiritual process is grounded and rooted in something that is more mundane, you follow what I'm saying? Then you won't be able to deceive yourself, because you'll keep forgetting to do Simran. And you'll do Simran of your worldly, I got to get this house together, I got to get me some money. I mean, that will just, you follow me? Overwhelm you. Because that's your value. Follow me? Now, I'm not instructing you in a way that I have not instructed you in the past. Is that about right? Is this the first time we talked about staying in the process and all that? Been having trouble staying in the process, right? Yes. Sure. Now you know why. You see, you've been operating out of some other kind of motive. So you see, beloved, your spiritual activity is governed by where you are at in terms of your spiritual development. And different people are at different places, and that's all right. You start there, but you have to understand. You see my point? What the other higher possibilities are for you. You see, don't remain arrested in your development. You see? I mean, make right use of God. I mean, God is able to do a lot more than just let you win the lottery. You see my point?
Yes, sir.
That's not making very much use of God in your relationship with it, is it? But if your vision is so minimum, you follow what I'm saying? If your concept is so immature, then that's all you ask for. Yes, beloved.
We was talking about how one can function in terms of being responsible and playing the roles, you know, at job and job, and actually being in the world, and still remain in the process of just the idea of it. How both can do it, but you don't have to choose to remove yourself from worldly activities, including pleasurable ones.
Actually, you see, beloved, the more awareness you acquire, the more efficient you become. It's just the opposite of what most people pursue. And why is that? Because the more you have grown spiritually, the less egoic you are. And it is ego that is the basis of all of our problems, period. Every problem that we have, that you have in your life, is grounded and rooted in one's ego. Even though, you see, life is not problematic otherwise. You see, life itself is not problematic. Tree is not a problem. It's a tree. You make it into a problem. That's something that we do to life, is we manufacture all these problems. And we're manufacturing all these problems and having all these difficulties, you see, because we are still somehow or another convinced that we are who we think we are, that we are the role. As long as you think you are the roles, then you will have difficulty performing them, is what I'm really saying in a nutshell. Spirituality breaks your identification with the role, thus enabling you to play it better because you're not so attached to it. You follow what I'm saying? Now, when I define myself as a father, you see, and I make that the core of my identity, then I'm clinging to that role. You see? And it limits me and my capacity to function in that role. It makes my children have to remain children. You follow what I'm saying? How else could I play the role of daddy unless I keep them perpetually infantile? Or if they leave home, then what happened to the role? You follow what I'm saying? Then I have to start raising my wife. That's going to be all. She ain't going to go for that. But what happens, you see, beloved, we become more efficient because we become detached. To the extent that you are detached, to that same extent you become more efficient. It's just like with advice, for instance. You're a therapist, and we know that in our field we can give people good advice. And the reason, and everybody can give other people good advice. It's just not therapists. We all, when somebody else presents a problem to us, we can give them some. Right? Because there's a distance. Are you with me? It's not my problem. Therefore, I can look at this and I can be very objective and I can give you some real good feedback. But what happens when it's my problem? Then I lose the distance. Are you with me? The role is almost the same, you see. When we become over-identified with our roles, then we become less efficient in those roles. So if one is able to achieve the proper distance, then you become much more efficient. The role loses its selfishness. You follow me? Now, selfishness disappears from that role. Because remember, whatever role you're playing, who's playing it? The ego. please make a note. It's not like your role is somehow separate from or disconnected from your ego. So whatever's egoically true about you, it's got to be in your role. Now, if you are, as ego, are fundamentally selfish, pathologically selfish, is there any role you're going to play that will not be contaminated by that selfishness? Are you with me? So your role as a father will be limited, you see, by your own selfishness at the level of your ego. If you're full of greed, is there any role that you play that will not reflect that? None. So who and what you are egoically is going to be reflected in every role that you play. So therefore, if you are self-absorbed, self-possessed, you see, classically ego-bound, then everything that you do, every role that you play will be probably a failure across the board. I mean, this is radical, this thing that I'm saying here. You may think you're really right there, but no, how could you be? You're deluded. But if you mean, beloved, that executing our duties, yes, we have duties in this world. So being on the spiritual path does not preclude your doing your duties. That's common. You're going to do that in any case, you see. Whether you're on the path, not on the path. Your karma requires you to have a certain kind of interaction, a give and take in the world. Whether you're on the path, not on the path, karma still operates in our life. You just don't get attached to all of that stuff, you see. Do you have to abandon the world in order to make spiritual progress? No. And I think that that's a part of what you were trying to get to. No. What for? You follow what I'm saying? You don't have to physically abandon the world, but you must renounce the world in here. See, renunciation is always required. And renunciation is in here. It's not a thing out there. But you must be a renunciant. Always. But abandoning the world physically is not necessarily an act of renunciation. Are you with me? You can abandon the world physically and sit up in your Himalaya cave, and then all you do is think about the world and what you left behind. No renunciation has occurred, right? You're still distracted, aren't you? So, physical abandonment or renunciation is not what the mystics are aiming at when they say you must become a renunciant, but you must renounce. You see? Jesus said, you must hate thy mother and thy father. Radical. That's radical. That's radical. You see, we skip the radical part of Jesus. Are you with me? And only give out to the public the consoling stuff. You know what I mean? Jesus is radical. Jesus says to the young man that was hesitant in following him, he says, wait a minute, can you hold up, Lord? Let me run back here because some folks died back in my village. What did Jesus say? Dead buried dead, man. You come follow me. That's radical, you see? But these are just metaphors and stories. The point that is to be understood is that there must be renunciation. You must renounce. So much more can be said about this, beloved, because so much of the roles that we play is based on the lack of ba'ada drishti. As you well know, ba'ada drishti means the failure to see that you're not the source of anybody's happiness in the first place. That's a presumption. It's an illusion. You're not able to make anybody happy. You see? Right? But the feeling is that, you see, Jose Saba say, well, since I'm the source of your happiness, and if I don't act a certain way, you're not going to be happy. See, this is delusional, isn't it? Right. So what do you mean by role?
saying that it ain't no such thing as a successful actor?
It's just an act. That's why we call it acting. It's just an act. I mean, you go and you look at the movie. That's not real. That's just it's a movie. This is a movie. Three-dimensional, but movie nevertheless. Don't take it so serious. It's not that serious.
Yeah, so Master, what I'm saying is that the world is a stage, and most of us as actors, most of the people that we see and perceive, don't we got a question, well, who write the script? Can you see yourself as a director? Because you make good movies.
That's right. You make your own movie. You're the director. You see, samsara. Everybody lives in their own samsara. The world you live in is not the world that Gerald saw is in. That's another false presumption. The world you live in, what you call in the world, that's all just you. Nobody else, you see, is in that world that you're in. It's like your dream. Now you go to sleep at night, right? You dream about some place you have went on vacation last year. Do you think everybody else that went to sleep dreamed that same dream? Well, this waking experience is no different. Everybody's not having the same waking experience that you are having. They're having their own waking experience based on their own mind, consciousness, memories, blah, 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 all kinds of things, you see. So it's just samsara. And when your world ends, but how did your world end? When you did and we're walking past your casket, you know, our world still is rolling, right? Your world came to an end, right? You see, that's all. It's always just your world that is coming to an end. You see. See, Josh is in his own world. See how peaceful he is when he comes out? All your problems exist in the waking state of consciousness. They don't have any existence outside. Yes, beloved.
In that case, Gustav, then it's almost impossible when you say, I understand you, or you're trying to communicate with somebody.
The only way that you can understand anybody is to become that person. Or to the degree that you're able to empathize, identify with, then to that degree you will have some kind of understanding. And then there's mirror neurons. Remember that. Mirror neurons are connecting the physicals, you see. So maybe you can understand how this feels at a physical level and so forth and so on. But all these things, you know, are almost academic in the light of the fact that you'll be dead in a few minutes. You follow what I'm saying? I mean, how important is all this shit? You see? Try to understand yourself. You follow what I'm saying? That's where it's at. Yes, beloved.
Yes. Is man capable of just starting at the bliss religion, or do you have to go to a phase to get to bliss?
Everybody's at their own individual state and stage. Came with your package. There are certain individuals who come and they're just what we call a dinkaret. They're at that level. Follow what I'm saying? And it's demonstrated. I mean, it's right there. It's demonstrated from the beginning. There's almost never any question about it. You see, because where you are is how you live it. I mean, it is the case. So, but yes, people come at different levels. They have always come at different levels. But the key question becomes, what level are we at personally? Yes, beloved.
I guess because as you were going over the different levels,
Mhm.
I can almost identify myself with every level, which seems.
Which means that you're definitely not the level of bliss.
No,
I'm only teasing you.
I was.
I'm only teasing you. I'm only teasing you. No, we can identify with them. What we do, we look in our life. See, and we really know. We really know what are we really up to. When we come to a spiritual path or engage ourselves in any kind of spiritual activity or endeavor, deep down inside, we know what we're up to. You see, it's just a matter of being ruthlessly honest about that, right? And one can really feel within oneself what's really going on here, you see. And then you have to start from there. All of us been born into a culture, into a society, into a family where we have inherited our ideals and beliefs about God. That's a part of your conditioning. You've been taught to relate to God in a certain way. You inherit it. You follow what I'm saying? And very often we become identified with these beliefs. And then you always act according to your beliefs. Make a note, always. There's no way to get escape. We can say this, but deep down inside, you're always going to act in a way that is consistent with your fundamental beliefs, which may be very unconscious, but nevertheless, they're what's driving the behavior. But yes, there are those individuals who are born and they just have that kind of capacity for that high, like geniuses in any other field or dimension of our humanity. You got people that are born geniuses. They just come out of the womb and they're just brilliant. Well, you have spiritual geniuses. There are such things. And they just come out like that. You see, there's biographies about these kind of spiritually precocious people as when they were children. Buddha was a precocious child, Mahavira, Sukadeva, so forth and so on. Just, Jesus allegedly teaching in the temple with the rabbi. This is a 12-year-old kid. You know what I mean? So that's very possible. But wherever you have to start, wherever you are, and then you will go. And it may be fear-based initially, it may be ignorant-based, but that can grow. You can move, you can grow. You see, our problem, you see, beloved, is we stop growing. We just stopped growing at some point, and we became fixated. You follow what I'm saying? I call it egoic fixation. What we do when we're in our adolescence and so forth, we construct this concept of who we are, you see, and then we cling to it, and we don't want it to change. We try to perpetuate and maintain this sense of self that we created in middle school. That's egoic fixation. And fixation is always going to produce suffering. Let me say it put it in a psychological context, because sometimes that's easier for us to understand. But clearly you can understand that you are an experiencer, and then you having an experience, right? I'm a part of your experience. The people in the room is a part of your experience. The weather, etc., the cars moving out there, whatever bugs are crawling. All that is happening, high and low in the universe in this given moment, makes up your experience. Is that about right? These are events, circumstances, people that are flowing into your awareness, and you having the experience of them. Is that about right? Now, the problem is that you have no control over what you're going to experience. It is just arising, and it's just happening to you. Is that about right? Yet, there are those experiences that are arising in your awareness and happening to you. There are some kinds of experience that you don't like. Is that about right? So you want to avoid those, right? You want to edit them out of your experience, right? That's called an avoidance fixation. Are you with me? You're trying to avoid some aspect of your experience, but how will you do that? Are you with me? All right. That's an avoidance fixation. You're stuck, and people are like that. Some negative part of their experience arises negative only as it referred to their egos. It's not negative independently so. quite negative. It's negative as it relates to your ego and what you want. Are you with me? So some so-called negative experience arises, and you want it to stop. You want it to end. You want it to get away, right? That's why you go to church. Lord, take this off of me, right? You want it gone, right? And you persistent in that, right? The next day you want it gone, and you fixated on that. Oh, I wish this would stop. I wish this would stop. I wish this would go. I wish this would go. That's fixation. And that's suffering. Because guess what? It ain't going no damn well until it's replaced by some other experience. Are you with me? That's avoidance fixation. And then there's attachment fixation. That's when some particular aspect of your experience that is arising lines up with your preference. Are you with me? Something you like, right? Now you want to clean. You want to hold it, right? How long you want to hold it? Right. But guess what? It's not going to last. Because the nature of your experience that you are having is that it's impermanent. It is transient. It is in constant flow. It is what we call pendulation. It is swinging from polarities, from opposites, right? Some experiences are pleasurable, then you followed by some that are painful, and this is how it is, isn't it? But you're trying to manage reality, right? Now, what is trying, that thing that is trying to manage reality, that's your ego, right? And it itself is a concept that you have created. You have created a concept of yourself. It's just a damn concept. It has no objective reality. It's your concept. It's a conclusion that you come to about yourself based on these experiences that you've had, right? It's a presumption, right? And you cling to that. Is that about right? You don't want to what? And you don't want to change, do you? Is that all right? We call that, I'm just being myself. I can be myself. All that you confess is that you are egoically fixated. Because the self that you're trying to remain being is a self that you created in middle school. That shit don't even work for me. You're 59 years old now. How can the way you were when you were 13 be appropriate for this reality that is constantly in flux? That's why you have to transcend the ego, because it's a contraction, it's a fixation. It is something frozen in time. It's made by your memory. Your ego is maintained by your memory. Are you with me? And you trying to hold on to being this way you were. You are fixated, you are contracted, and you suffer. Are you with me? And you are not any particular way. What you are just this free, fluid, infinite awareness that has the ability to take any psychological form that you need. You can take any psychological form that is appropriate for the reality of the situation that is before you. You are not limited to just being who you think you are. You follow me? It is just limiting yourself to who I am. But that who I am, that shit is from when you were 7 years old. And that's what you're trying to be. The self of trying to be myself, that self that you talk about when you say, I'm being myself, that self is pure illusion. Anatta. It don't even exist. Except in your head. Ain't nobody else having the experience of who you think you are. Should I go on? That is why you see that all saints say that the only problem on the path, all religions say this, you must transcend the ego. That's the only problem. There are no other problems. There's nothing else for you to do. That is the work. Transcending your ego, which means giving up your fixation to remain in who you think you are, because that's just purely fabricated. Are you with me? Now, here's a homework for you. if you're really interested, it really gives some kind of sense of your ego construct, because that's a big thing. It's very complex, right? It's made up of a lot of stuff. But if you want to get a good insight into what your ego is really made up of, the anatomy of your ego, if you really want to find out what you're up to, consider this. Ready? You got a pen?
Yeah.
Get a pen out there. Sutraji, I know you got some pen and paper. That's your guess. Huh? All right, get her a pen and paper so we can move to prasad. And anybody else who wants to join in? All right, here's what I'd like you to consider. What is the self that you want others to experience? How do you want others to experience you? How do you want others to experience you? Look into that. This is interesting. Let's take can we have 5 more minutes? I want to show you something. Would that be all right? The Bears game, what time the Bears game comes? I can't mess with this Bear game. All right. How do you want others to experience you? How do you want others, and underscore want, others to experience you? What is the experience you want others to have of you when they're in your company, when they interact with you? What is the experience you want others to have of you? So write down a few things. Let's take a minute. Bilal, you can save your film for just about 5 minutes. Are you okay with it?
I'm okay.
Okay. If you don't have pen, then ponder in your mind. Because you definitely want other people to have a certain kind of experience of you. That's what you're up to in your relationship and interaction with people all the damn time. You're not up to anything else more profound than that. You're trying to manipulate and cause others to have a certain kind of experience of you. What is it? You're trying to have, how do you want your wife to experience you? What is the experience you want your wife to have of you? What is the experience you want your husband to have of you? What is the experience you want your children to have of you? What is the experience you want your neighbors to have of you? What is the experience you follow what I'm saying? It gets complex, right? And with each one of those, you have something that'll go on your list. You want your children to have a certain kind of experience of you that may be different from the kind of experience you want men in general to have of you. What is the kind of experience you want men in general to have of you? What is the experience you want women to have of you in general? I mean, look into that. Get a few ideas. Okay, let's take 2 minutes and let your brain work with that. One of the things that they wrote on their list, Gerald Saab. Oh, you did this, Gerald Saab, so you were at the workshop, so you can't participate. No, I'm only teasing you. Write one of the things that you had said. Share with them.
I want men to fear me and women to love me.
All right. How many had that on your list? Huh? Okay. Somebody give me another one. How do you want others to experience you? Yes, beloved.
I want my children to respect me.
You want others to have and your children especially, to have the experience of you, that they respect you, right? Anybody else had that same desire? How many raised their hand? Can somebody give me another one? What? Yes, beloved.
That I'm kind.
There you go. Now you're talking to me, right? You want others to have the experience of you being kind, compassionate. How many had that on their list? There you go. See more hands going up, right? Because you're getting closer to it. Give me another real one. Yes.
Sadhguru, I stated I want everyone, might as well as my children and everybody to feel a feeling of love, peace, and tranquility.
You want people to have the experience of being that you
Peace,
love it, that
love
you're
it.
loving.
Right.
How many wanted other people to have the experience of them as being loving? See? Right? Who will give me one more? You shade. Yes, tell about it.
He's a nice guy.
Nice guy, right? You want other people to have the experience of you as being nice, being fair. How many had that on there? All right. Give me one more.
Trust.
Honest.
All right, that's right. You want people to have the experience of you being honest and trustworthy. How many of you had that on your list?
Guess lady go.
So you begin to see how this goes, right? Now, you have invented a way of being that is purposed to create that experience in other people. That's your ego. The way of being that you have created for the sake of other people having that kind of experience with you. But what happens when other people fail to have that experience of you?
Get angry.
Right. So you could see your upset is fundamentally the experience of the diminishment of your what?
Ego.
Right. All of your problems are like that. In every sphere. What the ego is up to, it is trying to perpetuate and maintain others having the experience of who they think they are. And when others fail to confirm or validate, you see, then you have a problem. Why? Now look at this other side. This is the subtle side. You also want to have the experience of yourself as being all those things on your list. Are you with me? Is that about right? Sure you are. You too are trying to have the experience of yourself as being honest, loving, kind, compassionate, trustworthy. Problem is, you can't have your experience unless what? Right. Now you see the urgency of it? God damn it, you better you better confirm that I'm kind. I'll knock you out. You gotta beat them into agreement that you are compassionate. And that's perfectly legitimate. Because what happened now is when the other fails to confirm your imaginary construct of who you think you are, when they fail to do it, that thing is threatened. Its survival is threatened. And you got to reboot it. You have to reboot your ego, right? And you do that through others, you see. Now, if you don't use others, you can become self-delusional. That's the other alternative. You can simply delude yourself. That in spite of other people, nobody in your experience is having the experience of you being kind. Not one damn person. Across your whole life, everybody that we interview said, that's the meanest woman I've ever seen. Mean, mean, mean. Kids said it mean. Your brother said mean, mean, mean. Your teacher said you mean. The grocery store clerk said you mean. Everybody. Ain't nobody confirming your imaginary construct of yourself as being kind. Now, the only way you can cling to that ego is you must become deluded. Are you with me? You become deluded. You become deluded. And unless a guru comes, that's how you die. Because the religions ain't going to mess with your delusion. You see? All the religion wants is for you to believe. You follow me? That you got a soul and a spirit. The guru wants you to have the experience. Religion demands belief. The guru demands experience. Make a note. Otherwise, you'll never come out of your deluded condition. It's profound, isn't it? Yes. And when delusion is a way of protecting yourself from falling apart. That's what happens when we isolate you from human interaction. We put you into a cell somewhere, hold you right, and what starts dissolving is your ego. You start falling apart. That's why you get all nervous. Shit, I got to, shit. I got to call someone. I got to make some kind of contact because your ego starts dissolving because you need other people to feed your what? Ego. Right. It helps you maintain your false, fabricated sense of who you think you are. You need other people to play that part for you. Otherwise, you can't survive as ego. Your ego starts dissolving. It feels like death. Right. That has to happen. That's the function of meditation. That's the ego death. You got to go through that to be born again. Otherwise, how can you be born again if you don't first die? You must die as ego self. But you're clinging to this. You're clinging to this imaginary self that you have created for the express purpose of recruiting other people's interest and attention in you. And you did that shit in middle school. And you're still trying to be that same way. You see your predicament?
Yes.
Now, on most people's list, they also added on to their list, besides being kind and loving and compassionate, you can almost see the cultural origin of even those presumptions, right? But almost all of them add, and I'm intelligent. You see my point? And I want you to have the experience of me being intelligent. Is that right? And my principal way of guaranteeing that I have the experience of being intelligent myself is to make sure you're having the experience of me being intelligent, so I can become very argumentative, so that you can have the experience of me as
I got 5 minutes.
All right, Bilal is out of time. So enough for today. We'll
Come closer to me.